Hi there, welcome to Boxing Deep Dive. I'm Lyndon Hosking, and great to have you along for another episode of our weekly show. I'm really psyched for tonight's show because we've got the full, all hands on deck for the show. We've got a lot of news to get through, Aussie and world, and everything else is going on, especially with the Aussie scene at the moment. It's been a massive week or two, and more coming up. So I'm really excited about tonight. I'm going to bring in my co-host Tassie Brown and this bloke down the right-hand corner. I really can't remember his name. Tassie's been away for about a month. Peter Maniatis, how are you, mate?
Pete. How are you guys? Great to be back and looking forward to this show.
There's a lot to talk about. It's Tassie and I have flown the flag for the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure whether you've caught the episodes, Pete, but Tassie's been a bit lippy the last couple of weeks. Haven't seen you since the last quiz that he did the Grand Slam, and he's been looking forward to having you back.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it.
4 in a row. There you go, Tassie. So, but yeah, as I said, guys, it's been a massive week in boxing and more massive weeks coming up. It's just a great time for Australian boxing at the moment, and very, very exciting times. So we'll jump straight into it, fellas. We'll get into the Aussie news for starters, and I don't even know where to start. Let's jump into probably the biggest news of the last week. Seems like it was weeks ago now, but it was literally the day after our last show. It is, of course, George Kambosos Jr. against Devin Haney. It's official now. We did this show last Wednesday night, I think, didn't we, Tassie? And it was announced on the Thursday. So it was a bit of bad time from my point of view, because it would have been good to have it on that night, but it was nearly a week ago. But Pete, you're obviously close to Team Kambosos. They kept it pretty well under the wraps, didn't they? The announcement.
Yeah, and look, it's good that this fight's in Melbourne. I think Melbourne's the sports capital of the world. All the $5,000 tickets have been sold.
Wow.
That's from row 1 to row 3. And from row 4, and from row 4 to row 10's been sold out as well.
Wow.
And now they're moving into the bronze ringside, which are 1,200. So 5,000, 2,500 sold out before they even go on sale. Yeah. I think they'll get 53,000 people there. And we mentioned that before. Remember, Everyone was a bit negative towards that. You're never negative to the Melbourne sports capital of the world. If you put a show on in Melbourne and it's the right type of show, everyone will go. We get 85,000 or normal home and away game. The only sport in the world that gets 85,000 or normal home and away game.
No, you're spot on. And Tassie, Pete's right. We have been vocal on this a little bit. And I actually said this, talked about this on my Talking Boxing show last week, that I was one of the ones that said I would think they would struggle to get 35,000. But I was so impressed by the press conference. And I suppose, like Pete said, Melbourne people or Victorians love an event, and I love the way they've marketed this, not just to the fight fans, but marketed this as the go-to sporting event of the year. So I've changed my tune. I think they'll get 45 to 50,000. What do you think?
Yeah, the press conference was first rate. Having it at the ground, Eddie Maguire hosting it.
Ticked all the boxes, didn't it?
Dad built. Devin Haney and his dad connected, on the with the link to talk. Everything was done first class, and I've had a lot of people already ask me about tickets, and because everyone thinks I can get tickets, so nothing to do with me. But so I'm getting a lot of people already asking, and mate, it is huge. You've got a good quality opponent in Haney. George has just got that self-belief, which is unlike many that I know of, because it's legit. He's really look, mate, as I said, I still don't think 60 or 80, 80, it's still a bit, but I'd say, 40, or 40. But I hope they get 100,000. I want them to, mate, this is huge, the boxing, and they've done it. They've pulled it off. They want a lot. They got Haney, so they're getting it done. This is happening. George went and won the title. Now he's defending it. Everything he says, it happens. So first class credit to George, Jim, and all the team.
Yeah. Well, Pete, before I get back to you, let's have a look at just a few clips from the press conference. Just a few of the highlights of what the boys had to say.
I've been on the road 5 years. Been doing it tough. Doubted by many. But I stayed focused. I kept that tunnel vision. And I knew one day I'd collect all of this. And I knew one day I'd step into this stadium and collect another belt. I never changed. I said all along, from day dot, I will be world champion, especially on that night. But that's a thing of the past now. I'm never content. I'm always striving for more and more. That's why I chase the biggest names. There was only 2 names I ever asked for this stadium fight, return fight. I could have fought anybody. Any person I could have picked. I worked for one of the best names. Lomachenko, Devin Haney. Unfortunately, Lomachenko's not available. Beautiful. Devin Haney, step up. Now we'll take your belt.
This is a dream come true. I thank God for it every day. I prayed for this time to come, and now the fight is official now, and I can't wait. Thank you, God. Alhamdulillah. I'm so gracious, and I can't wait. George is a great fighter, and I've been asking for the top fighters for a while now, and I finally have, gotten one of them that's in their prime, that's coming off the biggest win of their career. So I'm happy about that. But what I will do is go in there and handicap George of the things that he does best. I will take away from him and make it an easy night.
But he says he will finish his fight as a king. What's a king to an emperor? I am the emperor. I've gone and done that, and now I will conquer even more. So I respect that. He's a good kid.
I'm not a kid, so he can stop calling me a kid. I'm a man, and I will show him that in the ring. Respect me as a man, and if he doesn't want to respect me as a man, I'll gain the respect in the ring. And second of all, he could say that he chose me, but that's not the truth. He was forced into this fight. He did not want to fight me, and up until today, he did not want to sign a contract. Up until today, so he could say what he wanted to say. He did not choose me. He was forced into it.
I'm striving for more and more, and these guys are just another person in front of me. I will take them out, and I will move on to who's next.
Yeah, Pete, I just commented the other day too that, the way they've marketed it has just been A1. And I really complimented George Kambosos on the fact that he's obviously had media training, which I've been on about for however long with these fighters. And was so well spoken, didn't get flustered. Had all the responses for Haney, and credit to Haney as well too. I thought him and his dad spoke really, really well. But to have Eddie Maguire there and the Marvel Stadium, look, they just ticked all the boxes, and I suppose that's why Top Rank is one of the best in the business.
I don't think it's top. I mean, we've got to give George Cambos a co-promoter in this. We've got to give George credit.
Yeah,
this
okay.
ain't Top Rank. This is George Kambosos, and I'm telling you one thing. I don't know why the Australian public don't get it behind him like they should. This guy's a superstar. He's going to beat Devin Haney. I'm the only one kept saying he's going to beat Lopez. Everyone said you're crazy. They don't realise what this kid's about. This kid is a devil, a monster, and a beast, all wrapped into one. Devin Haney ain't going to know what hit him. I know Devin Haney's got silky skills. There's a bit of Shane Mosley about him and all that. I can't see Kambosos backing down. And his team have created this. His father, Jimmy, Peter Khan, they've created this. Zudia Bella. I mean, Top Rank's come in, but Top Rank's come in because obviously Devin Haney now has joined Top Rank. He's left Matchroom, and this now has become an ESPN fight. And that's what Kambosos wanted. He always wanted an ESPN fight. So to T. Kambosos, you have killed it. Kudos. And you're taking over the world. It's simple as that.
Yeah, well said, Peter. That's actually a very good point that Top Rank did sort of come in at the end, and obviously they would have needed the Kambosos' team on the ground in Melbourne to make all that happen. So yeah, full credit to them. But Tassie, no matter who did it, it was just the whole thing was just done with A1 quality, wasn't it? It just really, really put it in the right light and a good start to what's going to be a massive event.
You can't fault it, mate. Unbelievable. We actually got asked today to be on that show with my boxer against Terry Nichols, but my show's on June 11 in Tasmania, and this is on the 5th. So unfortunately, without the risk of an injury, but you can't fight it, I think, 14 days in between fights, but it wasn't worth the risk of a cut. But I think Bo Belbin and Terry Nichols will meet down the track 100%. But at the moment, we would have been part of the show, and I appreciate the offer. And, mate, look, first class, mate, you can say what you want. I know a lot of people that are critical about George. I don't know the guy. I just know that he went over and won the world title. against the top guy. He said he's going to put on a show in Australia. He's done it. He said he wanted the best. He's got it. And the press conference was A1. As Peter said, tickets are selling fast. It's going to be huge, mate. So full credit to him, and let's hope he wins it, and then we go on and fight Lomachenko, whoever, mate. But you can't fault the guy's drive and everything he's doing, mate. Australian boxing is much better for George Kambosos and what he's accomplished.
All right. Well, before we quickly move on, Peter, the one thing I will say, and you know Team Kambosos very, very well. The one thing I've taken from all this guy was born to be in this position. He thrives on it. He loves it. He's just a big time performer. You can just see it written all over him.
I've been saying that for a very long time. I'm glad people are starting to take attention. Mate, they're the same people. I've been friends with the family for a long time, and if you text George now, within 5 minutes he texts you back.
Yeah,
that's the type of people they are. They're not, I'm above it now, this bloke's got nothing he can help me with or whatever, like normal people that, since we've been doing the show, you've probably got a hit list of your own, Lyndon. And
so he's not like Wade Ryan. Lyndon can't get.
Oh, I'm used to it now. I'm used to it now. Sorry, Pete. Go ahead. I'm used to it. All right. Well, let's move on. All I can say is this. This is. We'll touch on this again in the talking points later on because we've just got something to run by us as well. But yeah, get the tickets. All the premium and corporate packages are available now. So jump on, and I think, Pete, the general admission tickets are late April, I think, aren't they? Or start of May or something like that. So.
And there'll be plenty of them. Yeah. So you'll be able to get a ticket.
I'm sure they'll be affordable too. Yep. Yeah. All right, guys, well, let's get on to another one of our favourites, or ones of our favourite. Of course, I'm referring to Team Maloney. They are back this weekend in Costa Mesa, California. Jason will be fighting Francisco Pedrosa. Andrew, over 10 rounds. Andrew will be fighting Gilberto Mendoza. Does that name ring a bell, Pete? Is that the WBA?
Yeah, that's the president of the WBA, yeah.
Gilberto Mendoza, over 8 rounds. So, look, I think, Pete, there's probably no getting around it. They're tune-up fights for the boys. But, look, I said this on last week's show, can't be in big fights all the time. So I think it's great for the boys to get back to America, get a tune-up fight, and then hopefully on the Kambosos card, and then who knows what's going to happen after that.
People don't realise how hard it is to manage fighters. So these type of fights you need, because if you don't, you go 12 months without a fight. And 12 months without a fight, you risk jumping out of the ratings as well.
Well, how long has it been for Jason?
I'm not sure. I'm not talking about Jason or Andrew. I'm just saying, as a rule, you need these kind of little cushion fights.
Yep.
So you don't get the big gaps in between the major fights. And you can't always have big fights back to back. So,
it's good. Not just that too, Peter. It's to stay sharp. I mean, like I always say, Tim Tszyu and Canelo are the best. An active fighter is a good fighter. Inactivity kills fighters. So besides the rankings, which is 100%, it's nothing like staying sharp, staying in the gym, having a fight. You can't beat it.
Yeah, no, and you're right. And look, I think it sort of gets lost in the mix sometimes. Some fight fans expect the guys to fight the big fights all the time. I'm sure these guys would love to have those big fights, but at the end of the day, if there's nothing on the rise, and you just got to keep fighting.
Title defenses Julio Cesar Chavez had?
Yep.
But if they used to fight regularly, non-title defense, title defense, non-title, but this day everyone wants to be a bloody Mayweather.
Fight once a year.
Spectacular,
Yeah. Well, it's on Sunday. I think it's on ESPN. Andrew will kick off the broadcast on the undercard of Michaela Mayer and Jennifer Hahn. And as I said, it's in Costa Mesa, California. So all the best to the Maloney boys. You will not find nicer guys in the sport of boxing. And let's hope they bring home the win. And then get the big fights on the undercard of Kambosos Haney. And I think, Pete, I'm not going to ask you because you probably know already, but I'm gathering that they're going to be locks to be on the Kambosos Haney card, but we'll wait until it's official, and I'm sure you can tell us all about it. You're a bit tight-lipped there. I think you know something that you're not telling us. But anyway, I'm not going to...
I know one fighter that is on there because you got to know Duco's part of it, so David Higgins has got the cruiserweight on there.
David Light?
What's that?
Is that David Light or...
No, he's 2 and zip.
Okay.
He won the Commonwealth gold medal. He's an Olympian. He's 6'6". David
Oh, the one that trains with Joseph Parker.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah, so he's on there. Obviously, Terry Nicholas is on there. I don't know if the Maloneys are on there. That's news to me.
They'd have to be on. They would have to be on. It's a Melbourne show, the top-ranked fighters. They would have to be on, surely.
Oh, because they're fighting now. So, I mean, will they fight again in a few
I
months? Maybe.
I definitely think they will. I mean, these guys, a couple of years, I think it was 2016, had 6 or 7 fights that year, I remember, and they love to fight. They live, and I got no doubt, especially... Sorry?
Look, Lou Diabella's a promoter in conjunction with Haney Promotions, in conjunction with Kambosos, in conjunction with Duco. So there's 5 promoters. It's not top ranked.
Yeah, not cut and dried.
They're using the top rank to get ESPN. Obviously, it's got Haney, but it's not top rank. Get to say whoever fights on the show. It ain't going that way because there's only a few slots available for people.
Yeah,
that's all I know. I don't know if the Maloney's are on or if they're not on.
It just makes sense.
I've got some fighters that were on. I have got a list of the fighters that are on.
Yeah.
With some that are going to get matched, but I haven't seen Maloney's name even mentioned.
Yeah, okay. Well,
maybe they're on, I don't know.
Yeah, I know they'll be pushing for it, but yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. Melbourne boys, top-ranked fighters, but you're right. There's a lot of promoters in the mix, but also I've had a lot of comments from people wanting fighters on there, but obviously they don't realise that even a lot of the Aussie fighters are linked to a No Limit or a DNL or a Tasman Fighters or Ace Boxing, and they're not going to get on. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get on a little bit more news, guys. It just broke yesterday. The Breedis Opataya fight has been postponed. Opataya is injured. He's going in for an injury. I'm not quite sure what the injury is, Pete. I'm not sure whether you know.
Yeah, I can lapse on that. It is a rib injury. Sustained in a sparring session with Jason Waitley. He had a minor operation on Sunday, and his fight will be pushed back to late June or early July. In the meantime, Justice Hoodie will be fighting Goodall June 5th or middle of June, and with the whole undercard of Bridis and Opataya on the bottom of it. So they've titled that up.
And that's why we have you guys on the news breakers. We don't rely on social media to steal the news. We've got the guys at the source. So anyway, Tassie, it's a bit of a tragedy though, isn't it? I know the fight's going to happen again, so it's not a tragedy that's being cancelled. But I mean, it's already been delayed 2 or 3 times. So I'm sure they're all chomping at the bit to get this happening.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when things don't go to plan. But let's just hope they finally get it on, and Opataya gets his chance of a world title. So these things happen in boxing, but it's never pleasant.
I'm sure it'll all come to fruition and it'll be a great fight. Last night, guys, we had a big fight night up in Sydney. It was Harry Garside who defeated Emmanuel to win the Australian lightweight title. And Tassie, I've got to say, this kid, he is the real deal. He was just bloody sensational, wasn't he?
He's a beautiful boxer, mate. He's a breath of fresh air when it comes to pure boxing. He moves so well. He gets in and out of position. He's so sharp with his punches. You can't miss. He's just so, he's going back to Johnny Famersham days. He's a pure boxer, which I appreciate. Pure boxer, mate. He does everything so nice. He moves. He's got a bit of Lomachenko of angles, and he's in and out. I mean, really good performance. You can only go from where he is right now. I know the end goal is world titles, and not many people get to that level. But for now, he's a really good boxer with a lot of skills. He's got a good team, and I think he'll go really far because they'll bring him along nicely. But just for talent, he's got some really, really good boxing skills, mate. Really a breath of fresh air when it comes to pure boxing.
Pete, you know Harry and the team really well. You've had a lot to do with the team over the years, but the kid, I mean, we always knew he had talent as an amateur, and obviously he's shown that with the bronze medal at the Olympics. But I mean, I know Matei is probably not world level, but he was a tough guy. He kept coming, but Harry, just the combinations and the movement with the feet, he really was something to watch, wasn't it? It was just a masterclass.
Yeah, it was, and good to see Harry go 10 strong rounds. He doesn't sit down in between the rounds. But the type of kid Harry Garside is, I've been managing Brian Levere's gym for 25 years. We're great mates. He mentioned Brian afterwards.
I was just going to say, it was really good of him to do that.
Yeah, since he was 11. I remember one time, because Brian Levere's good friends with the Richmond crew, Tony Levides and all those guys, and Harry Garside was fighting Caleb Kozak in the amateurs, and we all went to the Calabria Club, and all the Richmond boys are going, oh, who's Harry fighting? Who is it? And he goes, oh, he's fighting that guy over there. And Harry and Caleb, as you know, after you went into Calabria Club, you have a pizza or you sit down. They were sitting down because they're best, like best mates, eating together and having a laugh. And he goes, he's fighting that bloke. He goes, they're having lunch together. But that's Harry and Caleb. And that's what I like. Harry's a great kid. And I hope he goes and makes $1 million because he's got a good team behind him. And I mean, he's a class kid. He's a real good.
I've got no doubt, Tassie, that he's going to be something special. And as I said, Peter, I think it was really good that he actually mentioned Brian Levere afterwards because, I mean, it's all been about moving to Johnny Lewis, but there's only so much Johnny Lewis can do in this amount of time. I mean, the foundation was set by Brian.
Well, you say it's really good, but he done what he should have done. You got to remember those that got you there. So it's not. I mean, he's just done what he should have done. Some people forget to do it.
Yeah,
but you got to recognise those that have been there from day one. So I'm glad he did it, but he done what he should have done.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Those that got you there.
He gave Brian Levere his gold medal. He won Commonwealth Games. He bought Brian a car. He's done good things for Brian, and Brian was one of the nicest blokes and one of the best trainers in Australian
boxing.
Been
around a long, long time. Well, on the undercard, it was actually a really good card. Just before we move on, Garside moved to 2-0. Matei fell to 4-2, but he's going to give a lot of lightweights in the country some trouble, Matei. But on the undercard, Paulo Kuso stopped Michael Van Nimwegen. I know, Pete, you know Van Nimwegen pretty well. I think you've had him on your cards before, I think. Did he fight Matt Sheen, I think?
Yeah, I took him at Macau as well. He fought on the top card. He fought Ju Peng and went the distance. Yeah. Tough. He
gave Akuso a better fight than what I thought he would. Akuso, Tassie, how good. Look, he just reminded me so much of Jaya Pattaya. He's got class. I wouldn't mind seeing him maybe, especially early in his career, stop with the clowning and all the rest of it and the hands down, whatever. But, geez, just skills to burn.
Some good talent with them boys lately. The boys, like Taya, Haney, now this bloke, they got really... And his brother's good too. His brother fought on the Billy Dibunner card when I was in Broncos. Lot of natural talent, mate, these guys. Really good skills and, mate, they've got some really good boxing skills. And
also on the undercard, Blake Wells with a unanimous 6-round decision over Renald Quinlan, although I've got to say the knockdown of Quinlan to Wells was just a ripper. It was just a little short right hand that put Blake Wells down. I'm really impressed with Blake Wells, Pete. He's got some ability. He's probably got to tighten up a little bit more, but he's a big super middleweight and obviously he can punch. Yeah,
obviously, and he's from Bairnsdale. He's
with
obviously
Will.
Well trained. Lincoln Hudson was in his corner, and Will, obviously, and he's going to. There's a lot of fights out there now. A lot of fights in that division. There's a lot of up and comers, and especially now with TV and the packages available, guys are going to all want to fight each other.
Yeah. No, I thought he was very impressive. Also on the undercard, Hassan Hamdan won a 5-round decision over very, very tough Ryan Cotton. Also.
This is where I'm going to step in quickly. Now, Ryan Cotton pulled out against my boxer Bo Belbin a couple of weeks ago on Brian Matruda show. No good excuse at all. All right, and it was that late we couldn't get a replacement. Now he was on there last night. So
was he supposed to fight on this one too?
Who?
Was he supposed to fight Bo and then fight on this one, or he pulled out against Bo to fight on this show?
Pulled out. Well, I don't know about the reason why, but he pulled out against us for no good reason on Brian's show a couple of weeks ago, which left us to not get a fight. It was too late. He was getting good money as well. And I mean, so he ruined our plans. We've started the year now without a fight. And then he pops up last night. So I just want to say that's just not on. As I said, absolute bullshit. Nothing against the guy. I don't know him. But he pulled out against us for no good reason, which led to us not getting a fight. And then he pops up last night on that show. So nothing against anyone, nothing against the promoters. I'm just saying about him. Ryan Cotton and his team. It's just you don't do that, mate.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a load of bullshit. So my guy still hasn't had a fight yet this year, and now, So look, it is what it is. But
that is disappointing, though.
I can't not mention it. 100%.
Nah, fair enough, mate. Alex Luhal with a second round KO of Aaron Kay. I think Aaron Kay was about 6'3" and he's a lightweight, if you can believe that. And
good. I like seeing tall guys get knocked out. But no time
well, he got knocked out. Well, he got dropped with a ripper and then struggled to get up, so it was waved off. Probably the fight of the night, though, was the girls, Pete. Ashley Sims with a draw against Chanel Dargan. What a ripper fight it was. I actually thought Dargan should have got the nod, but either way, it was an awesome fight.
No, it was just it was like Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. And the girls both got 5K each from the promoter.
The bonus,
so that's an extra 10K jumped in. That just came out of the blue, that fight, didn't it? It stole the show.
It did. You're right about the Hagler Hearns thing, because right from when the bell rang, they just went out and they were just into it. Obviously not as...
what was that, Peter? They got a $5,000 each bonus.
A bonus, yeah.
Off the promoter.
Yeah. And that was before the card had even been decided. I think Big George Rose got up and said, well, no one's going to beat this fight for fight of the night. There's $5,000 each. I just thought that was great. Well, probably wasn't the most technical fight, but got to give credit to both girls. Both girls were so tough, and the amount of punches they took, it was great. Now, the last fight on the card, Tassie, I wanted to ask you about this guy, Tyler Blizzard, with a 4-round decision over Daniel Harford. Mate, looks the goodies with Team Fennec. Tasmanian, do you know much about him? Or?
Yeah, I knew him when he was a little kid. From up the north, up Launceston. I knew his dad, Steve Blizzard, and he was only like a little junior when I knew him. I hadn't heard of him for years, and I believe he beat Sam Goodman in the amateurs as well. Okay. And I think he went away in the Australian team in the juniors, or might have been seniors. I'm not sure, but I think. Nice. I knew that he's been with Jeff, and I know Luke Jackson and Brock Jarvis sparred him, and he looked good last night. He's a good boy, yeah.
He did, and you got to give credit to Daniel Harford too, Pete, because he was tough as nails as well, because he got dropped. He got dropped twice, I think, in the first 2 rounds, and then he actually won the last 2 rounds. I thought he was tough as nails.
Yeah, Leeds boy from England.
Yeah, England,
trained by Tony DeVecchio. No, good. That was a good scrap. The
whole card was really good. I'd be interested to see why the Blake Wells Reynold Quinlan fight was moved from the Wildfighter card. I'm not sure whether you know, Pete, but it was supposed to be the main event of last weekend's Wildfighter show, and it was moved to that show. So I don't know, because I'm not sure either one of them.
Exposure.
Yeah, maybe they needed an extra fight, and we'll want to get him exposed. I don't know. Well, speaking of the Wildfighter show, it was last weekend. Ben Maloney was elevated to the main event and had a comfortable decision over Lockie Higgins in Wildfighter round 7. And Taz, you got to give Will a bit of credit down there. He's doing his best to do a Victorian version of No Limit shows, isn't he? He's having a go.
Will does a great job, mate. He really puts his shows on really well. A lot of the technical stuff's always really good and that. And I heard that all the fights are really well matched, and there were some real rippers, mate. So, a credit to Will Thomason, man. He does some real good shows. He does his own thing. And mate, you got to give credit when credit's due, mate. I heard the fights were all amazing.
Yeah, it was. And Pete, I'd like to actually see Will maybe get an opportunity like an Anjo DiCarlo up there in Brisbane with Be In Sports. I know it's really tough to get on Fox at the moment, but I think these types of shows are the type of quality that could probably be on a Be In Sports or someone else.
Yeah, I mean, let's give everyone a go. I'm all for it. It'd be good to get a fight night every week on TV.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Gets a fight night. But it is what it is, and that's, hopefully we get there.
Also on the undercard, Max Reeves had a 6-round decision over Tony Caruso, which surprised me because I think Caruso had a bit of experience. He's had a couple of years out because he went to MMA, but that's a good win by Max Reeves. That was in the main support. Well, let's move on to some upcoming fights in the Aussie scene. And Tasman Fighters are back next week on Fox Sports next Wednesday night. Should be a ripper night of fights. We've got the card here. So Dana Coolwell. I don't know a lot about the, let's call them the B side, I suppose. Dana Coolwell and Luces. I don't really know much about that. Andre Mikulovic against King Davison. That should be a really good fight. Jason Waitley always goes pretty well. He's up against Savanika Naliva. I'm not sure whether you know anything about him, Pete. This fight should actually be entertaining. Ben Kite, Ben Horn. That should be exciting over, was it 10 rounds there? Lots of 10-round fights on there. Jerome Pampaloni, I hope I pronounced that right, against Lucas Miller, that we know pretty well down this way. Eric Sokolov versus Liam Pope, and Bryce McLaughlin against Cody Pointer. So if you look at there, Pete, there's 5 title fights. So Tasman Fighters doing some good things up there as well.
They are. Mick Francis, good bloke too.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah. Actually spoke to him today. Had a good chat with him today.
Yep.
He's an awesome bloke. He's doing great work, and I'm interested in that Jeremy Pallone fight with Lucas Miller. That is a very interesting fight.
Well, tell us a little bit about Pampaloni, because we all know how Miller goes. But
he's from New Zealand. He's signed up by Dean Lonigan. He's been sparring Jai Apataya and going very well in sparring. By all reports, he's trained by Peach, and Peach has basically said he's probably one of the most hottest fighters he's had out of New Zealand for a very long time. So the raps are pretty big. Lucas Miller, for mine, is one of the most underestimated fighters in Australian boxing. You go through his record, he's fought everyone. He's fought some real tough fights. He had Hardman on the canvas when they first fought. So Lucas Miller's record could really read 10-2 or 11-1. I mean,
he's been stiff a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how this fight's going to go. This will be a good 50-50 fight. So it'll be interesting to see who the winner is. That's a lot of people think Lucas Miller will probably beat him because this guy's had 10 fights against relatively zero opposition. But the raps are pretty good on him. So it's going to be a step-out fight for him. But Lucas Miller's a tough guy to beat.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Well, Tassie, the next upcoming card is talk about good blokes. There's another one. It's Ace Boxing, May 7th. It'll be on beIN Sports, which the last show was obviously awesome. You were there. Stevie Spark, Blake Minto. What a fight this should be.
Yeah, great fight, mate. Angelo Carlo doing amazing things. The NG Billy did show was amazing at the casino, and Angelo, everything he does is first class. And again, mate, Ace Boxing doing some amazing things. So hats off to Angelo Carlo and all the guys, Alfie, Nathan, and the Ace Boxing team. And this will be a cracker, mate. I met Stevie Sparks for the first time last week up in Broadbeach, and really good guy, mate. It was good to meet him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's at the International Convention Centre in Brisbane on May 7th. beIN Sports, which will be obviously on Foxtel, KO, and Fetch. I don't know a lot about Fetch, but if you've got Foxtel or KO, just go to the beIN channel. And away you go. So on the undercard for that one too, it looks pretty good. We've got Ben Kelleher and Peter Salsui, a rematch. Pete, you know a fair bit about Peter Salsui. We've obviously had him on our shows a few times. He loves to throw down, doesn't he? As does Kelleher. Yeah,
this is going to be a real interesting fight. Peter Salsui defeated him on Kings at Combat just a few weeks ago.
Yep.
3 weeks ago. So the rematch back on their turf. I still think Salsui wins it, but it's going to settle the score once and for all, isn't it?
Yep, certainly will. Also on the undercard, Beck Hawker, one of the most exciting females in the country at the moment, up against Shandni Mayra. I'm not quite sure, know a lot about her, but knowing Beck, the way Beck Hawker fights, that will be entertaining. And also a really good young kid, Vegas Larfield against Adil Singh. Again, I don't know much about Singh, but I do know that Larfield is a very, very good prospect, Tassie.
Yeah, mate, Larfield's a good boy, mate. I rate him. Yeah, he's a good young boxer.
Yep, should be a really good card. And look, Pete, I think it's just great. I mean, we do talk about it a lot, but I just think it's awesome that we've got this show. We've got the Tasman Fighters show. We had the Wild Fighters show last week, and that's outside of the No Limit. And I know the DNL show's about to start pretty soon, but it's just great for Australian boxing at the moment. Just to have so many options and promoters that are really having a go and really raising the bar to try and outdo each other.
Yeah, and it's causing more fights as well. So a lot of fighters are turning pro now because they want to get on TV and they want to get exposure. And the platforms
and there's good money being paid too.
Yeah, look, my motto is as long as you go into a 50-50 fight, if it's on TV and you're getting paid well, that's a dream come true for any fighter for mine.
Yeah, it is. One more thing before we move on to some world news. It was only just announced at the fights last night. So Nikita Tszyu and Paul Gallen will headline a pay-per-view on May 11. We won't spend too much time on that, Tassie, but interesting there. May 11 in Newcastle. Zoo Castle, let's call it again.
Yeah, well, we actually got offered the first fight with Nikita by Melbourne, which was shocked me at the time because, Bo's 5-0 with 4 knockouts, but we weren't thinking about, stepping up that far yet. And we got the call only the weekend of when Tim fought about the offer to fight Nikita on as the main event before Gallen was introduced. And so we went back and forth. We've been negotiating and we couldn't seem to come to a compromise deal. So I went to Mason Smith and but then hopefully after Bo has another fight May 21st, June 11, maybe they can look at us again. So look, Nikita's a great guy. I'm very close to the Zoo family. I spoke to Tim and I said we could have been going against each other. We had a bit of a laugh, but so it was really good to be offered the fight. As we know, as Peter knows, you're a manager. You negotiate the best for your fighter, and we couldn't come to a deal. Still great to be even thought of, and because Nikita's going to be, as good as Tim, and better to fight him now than later, I think. So good luck to the guys, No Limit, and putting on a good show, and hopefully, next time round we can sort of agree on the outside stuff, and we can make it happen, mate. So so it was on it. We could have been headlining this show. just said it didn't.
Sliding doors, but you never know. As you said, he's got to fight again another couple of months, so hopefully Bo gets that fight. And I think too.
But as I said, for my fighter to be offered Nikita Tszyu in Newcastle and Terry Nichols on a Kambosos card, that just shows to me, what we're doing with my fighter. I must be doing something right to have him in the position to get these offers.
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. Well said. And Pete, it should be a great card. And I've actually heard that is this the card that Jade Mitchell was going to be on as well, or is that another card?
I think that was another card, but do you know who Gallen was fighting?
Last night, Lyndon.
Yeah, but I think he got put back to May because he got crook. So we'll have to. I'm pretty sure that, and I think Shannon O'Connell might also be on the card, but don't quote me on it. But I know they're both around the same mark. But I think Pete that Paul's he's fighting. I thought it was actually
Chris Trozanovsky.
Yeah, that's right. I thought. Yeah. I thought it was Christian Zoy for starters, but it was.
He's trained by Ray Giles.
Okay.
He boxes neatly, so it's going to be a really interesting contest.
And that's
Mason Smith. We got a call for Joel. Joel was in Melbourne a week and a half ago, and we got a call. Joel said, "I'm sparring Mason Smith up at the Punishers gym. Come down at 3:00." And I knew I've never met Mason Smith. Went in there, met him. He came in with another guy, kickboxer from Ivan Refo. And after they sparred, I said, "What's all this about, mate?" Well, this guy. He said, "I might have a fight in 6 or 7 weeks. I just wanted to see how I was going to go." And then I get a phone call from Tassie later that night saying, "Joel spar Mason Smith." And I said, "How did you know that?" He said, "On Facebook." Tells you how far behind I'm in. I didn't even know from Facebook. And he said, and then we worked it out, what had happened. He sparred Joel to get an indication because he just got over COVID, whether he could take the fight against the Tszyu, and he did, and all the best. I mean, He's going to give Nikita Zoo a good fight.
Yeah.
He's a southpaw.
Well, a quick...
It wouldn't have given him as good a fight as Bo, though. But, yeah, anyway, good luck.
A quick talking point, though, boys, before we move on, just very quickly. Paul Gallen against... Who did you say, Pete?
Talking point, Lyndon.
Chris Trezanowski.
Chris, yeah. And Nikita against Mason Smith. Is it worth a $60 pay-per-view? Just quickly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd pay 60.
Okay. I am in the negative. I don't think so. But anyway, that's just me.
You're a tight ass, Lyndon.
Well, for $60, I'd expect to see Gallen against Sonny Bill Williams for that amount of money, especially if it's the main event. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just an old fuddy.
Hey, you paid to watch Wade Ryan, mate.
No, he was just on the undercard.
You're going to get Wade Ryan on the undercard so that you'll pay the 60.
We love Wade Ryan. All right, guys, before we get any deeper, let's get into the world news. Again, not a lot going on. There's a lot of prospective things happening, but not a lot of sign stuff. But we all know, obviously, this weekend, a big fight for Triple G, who makes his comeback after a long layoff. He's fighting for the unified WBA, IBF, and IBO middleweight title against you know very well, Pete. Ryota Murata. What sort of fight are we going to see?
Mate, he's tough, Murata, and he's with Mr. Honda Tekin. It's going to be a massive fight. I've been killed as a supervisor, so great on Ben for getting under there. And he's going to get spoiled. Look, Murata's a gold medalist. He was with Top Rank, and he's always been with Mr. Honda. Triple G, close to 40 years of age. Is there going to be a moment where he slows down? Because Murata's a brave warrior. I give Murata a live opponent opportunity. Murata's there to be hit. I saw him fight Butler. He got hit a lot, but he's brave and he's heavy-handed. He's not a KO puncher, but fights with plenty of spirit, plenty of heart. And as we mentioned, he's a gold medalist at Olympic level, so he's no mug. And, Triple G, close to 40 years of age, hasn't really been that active of recently. If he has one bad night, in Japan, I wouldn't be surprised Murata upset him. But I wouldn't be tipping Murata, put it that way. But I'd give him a sniff.
Okay, and Tassie, it's interesting, is it what Triple G will turn up, whether it's the one that'll benefit out of a long break or one that might struggle after a long break?
100%, mate. Look, I mean, it's a good fight. As I said, it's in Japan, and like Peter said, Murata's a live opponent. I don't know, I still think Triple G, if he's half as good at what he was, he'll still rock up and win the fight. But let's see, mate. I'll stick with Triple G, but... Yeah, mate. It's just good to see, mate. It's good to see what he's got still.
And it's on DAZN. I'm not quite sure what time. What's the time difference in Japan, Pete?
Oh, they're a few hours behind. This is going to work beautifully.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're going to go towards American time. Which way are they going to do it?
Yeah, don't know. I'll have to check the guys, the DAZN guy. But you'd reckon it'd be...
Like what was weird, when those fight nights in Macau were on with Pacquiao, the undercard was starting at 8 in the morning.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you had
right.
a fight at 1, you've got to be up at 5 in the morning to fight at 8 in the morning. So
Holy
it's weird.
shit.
Because the main event starts at midday.
Yeah. I think it was the same for the Pacquiao Horn fight too, wasn't it? They had to get up really early for that fight too.
Yeah. So it's weird when you've got that, especially if you can't sleep well the night before a fight, and then bang, the alarm clock goes at 5 in the morning. You've got to get up.
Yeah, that would be tough. I'm just looking at the DAZN site now.
Trying to work out what stadium are they fighting at? The Yokohama Stadium in Tokyo?
It is. Doesn't actually. Yeah, I think I'm not quite sure actually, Pete. So
that's where he fought last time.
So it doesn't actually say there what's happening with that. So I'll have to. Yeah. There you go. It is. Well, it's Saturday night here. Saturday at 7:30.
So they might be just going with Japan time, because Murata's a massive name in Japan. I mean, he's the golden boy. He's got Nike. He's a billboard type of guy. They might just say, bugger it, we're going to go with Japan time and not do it in the morning.
Yeah,
to suit Americans.
You probably wouldn't think that this fight's got massive appeal in America, so why not just go with the what you know?
Is he bigger than in a way, Peter? Because he got the gold medal.
Yeah, he gets more money than in a way. He gets more money. He gets in the millions, and he's got massive sponsors. So he's more mainstream because he won a gold medal, and And in countries like, if you win a gold medal, you become an instant celebrity.
Yeah.
And that's what he's got. He's got that gold medal.
All right, another fight on this weekend. It is return of Ryan Garcia. And this is actually a pretty tough one. He's fighting Emmanuel Targo. I'm sure that's how you pronounce it. But that's going to be a pretty tough fight, Tassie. It's a pretty hard one for his comeback fight.
It is, mate. It is very tough. Be interested to see how he goes. Apparently he's been dropping everyone in sparring, apparently, between him and Joe Goosen. But, mate, look, this kick and fight, forget the social media stuff and whatever. Look, the kick and fight. He fought Haney 4 times the amateurs. They split 2 each. He's got a vicious left hook. He's got great hand speed. And I think if he focuses solely on boxing, he is one of the top guys. So this will be a good test, though.
Yeah, I think so as well. So, yeah, I'm not sure whether it's... Oh, yeah, there it is. It's on DAZN as well. So I think that's actually the next day. I'll bring that up as well. You'd think I'd be organised, wouldn't you? But Sunday it is... This is for the Aussie crowd, by the way. It is on at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning for the Aussie crew on DAZN. So a big weekend for the Aussie public who've got the DAZN for $2.99.
Yeah, we've all got DAZN. But when's Murata and Triple G? Is that Saturday night?
Saturday night at 7:30.
Or Saturday night our time?
It's all on our time. On the app in Australia, it's our time. So
that starts at 7:30 on Saturday night.
Saturday, it says here, Saturday night at 7:30.
That is... What a great way to spend your Saturday night and watching that.
I'm glad we actually looked at that because I would have missed it.
Because when you say Saturday, I normally go by American time, which is Sunday morning our time.
No, this is the DAZN Australia app. So 11 o'clock Sunday morning for this fight and 7:30 on Saturday night for Triple G and Murata. So that should be a great weekend. Well, it's all been good news so far tonight, but it's that time of the night where things get a little bit heated and Tassie steps up. We haven't had this for a few weeks. He's been in a good mood since you've been away, Pete, but it is Tassie's tirade. What do you got for us, mate?
No, I touched on it before. As I said, if you're going to accept the fight, if there at least there's a serious injury or a medical condition, we'll take the fucking fight then. Don't mess someone around the week of the fight, mess a promotion round where it's too late to get a replacement opponent, where you ring around everyone in Australia offering 10 times more than that you were originally going to offer. As I said, Ryan Cotton was meant to fight my boxer Bo Melbourne on Brian Truder's show at the Melbourne Pavilion. When was the schedule for? Was it February, March? I think it was March 20th or something. It was the other week. Brian's last show was on a Sunday. And the guy pulls out for no good reason. I think they said something about work or some bullshit. Well, if you accepted a fight, I'm sure you've told your boss that you're fighting. And then he pops up last night on the No Limit show and, you know what I mean? Look, he's a tough boy and he showed a lot of heart. But they were really worried about my boy stopping him. They mentioned that, he'll lose his licence and all this shit. And it was just a joke, mate. To see him last night, it pissed me off, mate, because, we went without a fight because we got fucked around, and it pissed me off. So,
I think we have spoken about this a few weeks ago, a similar thing there about some being penalties. But look, don't think that's ever going to happen. But look, I think, unfortunately, we've all been there, haven't we, Pete? Where we've been mucked around, but at the end of the day, that's the game.
That's boxing. What do you do?
Yeah. But I hear you, mate. It must be very frustrating.
I won't go on about it too much, but obviously I would never be matched against that guy again because I'll be too worried about if he pulled out. So, and he, he took some punishment last night. Full credit to him, but I can't not be pissed off because he stuffed us around. So we're in April and we still haven't had a fight yet because of that fucking guy.
Nah, I hear you, mate.
So anyway, that's my tirade.
Nah.
If anyone's got a problem, fuck you. If anyone's got a problem, I speak it how it is. I know more about boxing than most people in Australia. I've done it, and I breathe it, And that's all I've got to say about it. I know this fucking game more than most of you keyboard warriors.
All right. Well said. All right. So let's get on to the next segment. It is the talking points. We had a few last week, but we've only got 3 to go over this week, guys. This is where obviously we pick a topic and have a quick little analysis of it and maybe a little debate as well. Let's go to talking point number 1. Interesting to hear you guys' thoughts on this. There should be a minimum of fights to challenge for a belt. Now, what I mean by that is last night, Paulo Akuso was fighting for the Australasian title in his first fight. Justice Haney fought for the Australian heavyweight title in his first fight. Harry Garside fought for the Australian lightweight title in his second fight. I know there's a little bit of a common theme here that it's the young stars, amateur stars that are turning pro getting these chances, but Pete, should there be a minimum they should have to wait, or should be, if these are stars, we need these guys to have these belts to make the belt a bit more prestigious, or should they have to wait?
Didn't Lomachenko fight for a world title in his third fight?
I didn't agree with that either. I think it was his second fight, actually, but either way.
It's or whatever. I mean, look, it is what it is, I guess. If you've got promoters that are willing to back you up and run you in, kudos. You're not wasting time. Why sit there padding a record when they want to get straight smacked back into it? Look, this is what I see with boxing. People, and that's why the sport sometimes doesn't get the super fights. People worry about records. Forget records. Worry about how good your fighter is. I mean, we can get a 5-5 guy can knock out a 10-0 guy. He's a 5-5 guy's been on the road. He's been ripped off most of the time. 10-0 guys fought 10 padded fights. It doesn't matter. It's about the fighter. So for me, if you're good enough and you think you can win a title in your second and third fight, you've got promoters that are willing to bankroll you to do that. Who am I? Who are we to sit back and say, don't do it?
But, Tassie, that's a good point, Pete. But, Tassie, on the flip side, the promoters might want to do it, but does it make a bit of a mockery of the actual sanctioning body who lets someone fight for a pretty important title in the first or second fight?
I don't think it's a problem, mate. If the guy's good enough to fight for it. I mean, the theme is these guys have been awesome amateurs.
Yep.
And they're coming, and their amateur experiences, they're skipping the queue of going along your pros, your 4-rounders, because they've been there and done it. I mean, look, back in the day, it wasn't like that. Even if you was an Olympian, you would have to sort of come along slowly. But, mate, like Peter said, if they can do it, then good luck to them, mate. You know what I mean? Loma done it in his second, but lost and won in his third. You know, Cassidy's, I think, fought for the Australian title in his second. First James Swan back then. So each of their own, mate.
Yeah, and I think as well, on top of that too, I know the Australian and Australasian ANBF are really keen on getting the titles out there and making them a little bit more prestigious and making them more of a stepping stone to the regional and then the world title. So I could probably understand that to that extent, that they want these guys to have their belts because it obviously makes their organisation look a little bit more important as well. And maybe brings back the trend of the fighters turning, when they're turning pro, of not just looking at regional titles straight away, they're looking at state, national,
but I'm going to say
Australasian.
this. I'm going to say this. Forget the titles. Just still be careful about fast-tracking your guy too much, because eventually you'll get to a point where there's no going back, and then you've got the world level. So that guy last night, it's a nice guy, but he's not fighting for world title in 10 fights.
Yeah.
So still be careful about moving too fast, because once you're there, you're there. You're fighting America, Mexico, Russia. So just belts smelts. Belts don't mean shit. Careful, only the main one means it. The main one, the world title. So just be careful about fast checking too much, because once you're there, that's it.
Yep. Fair enough too. Number 2. This is an interesting one. Kambosos Haney will be bigger than Horn versus Pacquiao. Pete, and we remember, you were up there as well, we remember how massive Horn Pacquiao was, the fight itself, but the lead up and the coverage that it got. Do you think Kambosos and Haney will overtake that as Australia's biggest ever fight?
Look, Horn Pacquiao was kind of had its own special chemistry, because Manny was 38 at the time and Jeff Horn was really an unknown kid getting his Rocky shot.
Yep.
So we're here, Kambosos has just defeated a pound-for-pound star, and Devin Haney is touted as the next pound-for-pound star. So it's different in its way, and I'm backing the Melbourne public in to really get behind it. So I'm thinking it's going to be bigger. I'm thinking it's going to be bigger only for the fact that both teams bring that A-side peak performance to it. They're both actually on top of their game. They're undefeated.
What do you think, Tassie?
I don't know. I mean, I was in Russia at the time of the Pacquiao fights. I wasn't there live, but there's no Manny Pacquiao in this fight. I mean, a Hall of Fame legend. It's huge, and Peter made a good point because it undefeated beat a pound for pound guy, a future pound for pound guy. But no, I don't think it'll outdo Pacquiao Horn, bro.
Well, and the interesting thing too is you're right, Pete, that with Horn versus Pacquiao, Pacquiao was a global superstar in boxing, where Horn was the unknown sort of up-and-comer. This is in Australia, I mean. In the Kambosos situation, Kambosos is, I suppose, the superstar, and Haney is the unknown opponent. So it's a little bit different. But I'm with you, Pete. I really think after what I saw the other day that this event's going to be marketed very, very well. And I think the Australian, especially in the Melbourne public, will just flood this and make it absolutely massive.
It won't just be Melbourne. They'll come from all over Australia for this.
Oh, they will.
People
this is the 4 belts.
Are going to come from wherever.
This is going to stop the world. This is for 4 belts. Everything's on the line. It's not.
That's a good point too. That's a good point.
It's the 4 belts. This is undisputed. The winner of this walks away undisputed lightweight champion. There's no arguments. So
that's a good point. I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit nervous about the quiz now. Peter's on tonight. He's on.
But look, either way, both fights. Matt, I just remember being up there for Horn Pacquiao, and you were there, Pete. It was just a magical week of for boxing heads like us. But I've got a feeling this one will be just as big, and I unfortunately won't be here. But it is what it is.
Where will you be, Lyndon?
I'll be watching this fight from New York City at probably a sports bar in New York City, I reckon. So I'm going over there for the Hall of Fame.
I know where I'd prefer to be.
What, New York?
Oh, what do you freaking think? Of course.
Well, it's for the Hall of Fame weekend that I'm going up for. So, of course, it's always about timing.
2 words for you, Lyndon.
Sorry, mate?
2 words. 2 words for you. Richard Rolls.
You won't let me live that down. All right, number 3.
It was my first impression. My first impression from you.
What an impression that was. Me doing backward somersaults. All right, let's get on to talking point number 3. This is only a quick one, boys. Don't take this too seriously. The Fennec Files are a great idea. Now, if you're watching Fox Sports or Foxtel at the moment, apparently someone come up with the great idea of having Jeff Fenech sit down and go over his greatest fights and commentate them. And, geez, hang on, who put that in there? Jeff Fenech, Azuma Nelson, with special guest Jeff Fenech. Now, I'm only being tongue-in-cheek about it, but Pete, great idea to have Jeff Fenech on, talking about his biggest fights, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we did it first.
Yeah, of course. Azuma Nelson.
Yeah. No, but look, it's interesting how much you forget what a great fighter Jeff Fenech was. Like you just look back and those fights, and it was good to see Bruce McTavish raise his hand with Shingaki. It just brought back so many great memories.
No, you're right. I'm only sort of doing it with tongue in cheek, but it was just when I saw it come in, I thought, geez, that's a great idea. Why didn't someone else think of that, Tassie?
100%, mate. 100%.
Anyway, it's either way, it's great to see so many multi-dimensions in boxing entertainment these days, and it's great to see that Foxtel are actually investing, or Main Event is investing in these types of things as well. So good on Ben Damon and the crew. Well, guys, that's about it for the talking points. It only probably leaves one more thing for the night, and that is something that we haven't done for about 4 or 5 weeks. It is everyone's favourite. It is the quiz. Tassie Brown taking on Pistol Pete Maniatis. Now, last time we did this, Tassie, I think it was 4-0. I think it is for the year now. Is that right?
4-0.
I won the first one.
Did you? Okay. So 4-1.
It's still four in a row, though.
Well, because what I want to do, we might come up with a bit of a prize and at the end of the year who has the most, and we might make a donation to a charity or something in whoever you guys want to nominate. And it can't be your own charity,
Brown
yourself.
Foundation.
Sorry?
Tassie Brown Foundation.
Yeah, no, that's what I said. It can't be your own foundation. It's got to be a charity, but we'll donate some money to that, and so we've got something to play for. It could be the Vegas Foundation Fund, Tassie, to get over to Vegas. All right, well, you guys know the rules.
It could be
Canelo Humphreys Next Fight Foundation.
Yep.
Peter Maniata's fucking shirt from Louis Vuitton Foundation.
Now, guys, you know the drill. We've got the 9 questions plus the who am I. My decision is final. Okay, you get a crack at it. If you miss it, the other one gets an uninterrupted crack. All right, and whoever loses, no sulking, no complaining. Let's just get on with it. All right.
No Nick Kyrgios, Auntie?
No Nick Kyrgios. All right, or Will Smith in there as well. All right, we're moving on. All right, number 1, nice easy one to get us started. Who did Lester Ellis beat to win his world title? Peter.
Kim Kwon Yu.
No, it's incorrect. You've sort of got his name. You've mispronounced his name. I'll give you one more crack at his name, getting it right.
Kim Kwon Jun. Or whatever.
No, incorrect. Tassie, you got a free crack at it.
Kill Kwon Sun.
No. One Kill You was his name. R1 Kill You. Almost, Pete, but the order was a bit mucked up and the jung was not young or whatever the hell it was. All right. Thought that would have been an easy one. But anyway, number 2. How many successful defences did Jeff Hardy make of his title?
Tassie. 5.
Incorrect. Peter.
3.
Incorrect. It was 4. 2 in his first reign, 2 in the second reign. And obviously lost it in the end to Mike McCallum. Number 3. What Aussie did Jeff Fennick beat in his tune-up for the Payakaru? Yes, Peter.
Tony Mad Dog Miller.
He did. Tony Mad Dog Miller. I know you're probably there, Pete. I was there. It was a pretty much a slaughter. But I'll tell you what, Tony Miller, he was the first one to go the distance with Jeff, by the way. And
Brian Levere.
He was tough as nails. Sparred a lot with him during the day, and there's a reason why they called him Mad Dog, because he was tough. All right, 1 to Pete, 0 to Tassie. Number 4, who was the first Maloney to turn pro?
Tassie.
Peter?
Jason.
Yes, he did. In August 2014, he turned pro, and he fought at the Commonwealth Games and turned pro later. 2 to 0. In what country did Troy Waters challenge for his first world title shot?
Tassie.
Yes, Tassie.
Italy.
He did, against Gianfranco Rossi. It was for the IBF title, and he lost a 12-round decision in that fight. So 2 to 1. On to the international questions. Number 6. In what Olympics did Miguel Cotto compete? Tassie.
Sydney 2000.
He did. Sydney 2000. 2-2. Number 7. Who did Manny Pacquiao beat to win the WBC Super Welterweight title?
Tassie.
Tassie.
Antonio Margarito.
He did. Antonio Margarito for the WBC title. 3 to 2. Is this another come from behind victory here, Tassie? We'll see. 3 to 2. Number 8. How many fights had Leon Spinks had when he beat Muhammad Ali? Yes, Peter.
7.
7 is correct. 3-3. One of the biggest upsets in boxing history, that was too. Number 9, 3-3. What stablemate of Thomas Hearns was known as the... Yes, Peter.
Michael Mora.
Incorrect. Tassie, I'll complete the question. Was known as the... Sorry?
Yeah, complete the question.
Yeah, was known as the Iceman.
Gerald McClellan.
No, Milton McCrory, the brother of Steve McCrory, of course.
I would have got that one.
Yeah. What is it? Still 3-3. So it comes down to this one.
Tiebreaker. Let's go.
All right. Who am I? I was born on December 7th, 1956. I turned professional in 1981 and compiled 21 straight wins before getting my first world title shot in 1984. After winning a 15-round decision to claim the title, I then made 7 successful defences that included wins over 2 former world champions and 1 future world champion. I stepped up in weight in 1988 to challenge for a second title, but was outpointed over 12 rounds. 1 year later, I won the vacant title before making 4 defences. After mixed results over the next few years, I beat an Australian to win my 3rd world title in 1994. After losing the title 1 year later, my final 2 fights were losses against all-time greats. I retired in 1997 with a 49-5-1 with 36 knockout record. Big names on my record included Donald Curry, Julian Jackson, Sambu Kalambe, James Toney.
Peter.
Yes, Peter.
Terry Norris.
Incorrect. And Roy Jones Jr. My nickname was the Body Snatcher. I am
Mike McCallum.
Yeah, geez, I can't believe it took that long to get it. Pete, you almost had it. But yeah, the Body Snatcher, Mike McCallum was the answer.
5.
5-0. Are you with us, Pete?
Yeah.
Are we all right? We're not going to do a walk-off?
Shoeies. Good on you, Pete. That was a tough one, mate.
That was a very well contested fight. Peter, were the questions hard enough for you this week?
They're okay, yeah.
Just okay, all right.
Well, Kill Kwan Yu was one that I thought I got, but you said I didn't.
Kill you, not Kwan Yu kill or whatever it was you said. You got to get the order correct. But that was good, guys. Great to have you back, Pete. Just make sure, guys, if you're tuning in on a Monday night, we've got Talking Boxing. So jump on. It's just me. Come on, have a talk about whatever you want to talk about. If the boys here want to jump on and have a chat that as well, but it's just me talking boxing. That's all it is for an hour. I'll keep rambling on for as long as I have to with my topics, but it'd be great to have you come on and actually have a chat. I always put the link up, so you just click on it, come on in, and I'll bring you into the room, into the waiting room, and then we can have a chat about it, or leave a comment and we'll have a chat. So there it is, guys. Great to have you along.
See you soon. On your Pete.
All right, guys, and Pete.
5 in a row.
See you next week.
Good,
See you, boys.
Good stuff.